if there's any snitches in the group, we kill the snitches, and they fire shots out of a gun. Boom, boom, and everybody's kind of getting scared.
April 21, 2017. A group of men stand in a remote field in the middle of Alabama.
It was nighttime, and I am blindfolded. I've been instructed to place my right hand on the right shoulder of the person in front of me in line because that signifies brotherhood.
The Brotherhood is the Ku Klux Klan, the United States' oldest, most notorious white supremacist hate group. This is one of their ceremonies. What they don't know, one of them is an FBI undercover agent, and he's no lightweight, 6'4", 260 pounds, covered in tattoos. His nickname, Hillbilly Donnie Brasco. He's gone undercover as a contract killer, a contraband smuggler, an arms dealer. He's put dozens of people behind bars, from drug dealers to violent motorcycle gangs to pedophiles. He's befriended and brought down biker gangs and neo-Nazis, people who are planning kidnappings, murders, and the overall downfall of society.
And when he was saying we're going on a camping trip, what he was saying is we're going to kill somebody. And everybody's screaming, death to your, F your Jewish God, death to America. And then somebody says, if there's any snitches in the group, we kill the snitches, and they fire shots out of a gun. Boom, boom.
We drove all the way over to his ranch in Tennessee, and he told us everything. This is the story of Scott Payne, the redneck turned FBI agent who infiltrated America's underbelly. The majority of this video is based on Scott Payne's book and podcast. Find the links in the description.
What I saw was a watery image. It was completely red, and there was a demon looking at me in that watery kind of ripple image with a grin and long crooked finger looking at me saying, "Come here," smiling.
Scott is 14 years old, and he's just seen a demon. The year before, his parents divorced, and Scott went down a dark path, consulting spirits, watching diabolical horror movies, satanic rituals, deals with the devil. That's what brought him here, a friend's house, spending the night. They've had a small amount of alcohol, but no drugs, no hallucinogens.
I would do like these little vignettes where I would pretend I was being possessed by a demon, or I was the devil, or whatever. I was on the couch, and I was doing this scene from a movie where somebody is like being possessed by a demon. And so I'm fighting in my voice, and then the demon voice comes in, and there's this battle. And at the end, the demon wins and possesses the person. So that's what I act like happened. And I'm laughing like the demon, and I rolled over.
It all started as a mock demonic possession, but then he actually saw a demonic figure. And this was his breaking point.
So let's just say after the demon scare, I got Jesus scared back into me, and that was it. Not that the devil was done with me, but I was done with him.
Halloween night 2019. This is Scott on his final major undercover mission. And this is a goat. It was stolen and is now at the center of a pagan ritual. It's been nearly 35 years since Scott's first encounter with the devil, but on this night, the devil is all around him. And he's definitely not done with Scott.
Now, we're all in a circle around the goat. Somehow I ended up at the back of it. I don't know how. It's bad luck on my part, I guess, but I'm holding the legs of the goat. He's got this blade, and he's bringing it up and bringing it down in a practice swing, practice swing, practice swing. And finally, somebody says, just do it. Eisen comes down with every bit of force he's got and hits the back strap of the goat, and I don't even know if it broke a hair. I don't know if it's because the back strap's too thick, the blade was too dull, but he hit it, and all you heard the goat was just go, bah, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna get bloody and bad real fast.
The man swings again. Again. Nothing. Finally, the blade is replaced with a gun.
I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he's like, what? I'm like, man, look at what you're shooting at. We're all in a circle around this thing. And then he looks, puts a round right in the head of the goat, and it hits the ground. So you think you're done. No, you're not done. Now they slice the throat of the goat and they fill up a cup full of blood.
One of them pulls out a sheet of LSD. He approaches each man one by one.
Basically, they would take the hit of acid under their tongue, chase it with the blood of the goat to signify the sacrifice or solidify the sacrifice.
Scott is one of the few who decline.
So when it gets around to me at the end, I'm looking at the blood and it's already coagulated. It's all chunky and clotty, and I'm looking at it going, man, I really don't want to turn this up and drink it. I mean, this is disgusting. So I dipped my fingers deep into the blood, pulled them out, and then sucked all the blood off my fingers.
This is not the Ku Klux Klan. This group is younger, better equipped, and preparing for a bloodbath. And not only animal blood, but the blood of any human who isn't one of them. Jewish and Black Americans, and anyone they consider traitors to the white race. They're by far the most dangerous group Scott will ever infiltrate. Unfortunately for these tripping blood-drinking white supremacists, Scott Payne has other plans. It's exactly the kind of thing he spent the last 17 years working to prevent.
I became an FBI agent in 1998, and by 2002, I'd already done some undercovers for the FBI, but I wasn't yet certified through the FBI undercover school. So I finally got a slot.
September 2002, Quantico, Virginia. This is the FBI Academy. If you make it through the year-long application process, if you pass the physical and psychological assessments, the tests, the polygraphs, the interviews, the background checks, if you make it through all that, you end up here, in a 20-week training program. If you get through the 20 weeks, you become an FBI agent. Scott's been here before. Now he's back, about to start the training program for undercover agents. Getting admission to the program is hard enough. Graduating is even harder. Only about half the admittees make it through.
It's a 2-week school with no days off. We're very big on sleep deprivation. You're going through multiple scenarios of all shapes and sizes. And there's only 20 slots for the class.
Others break down. They make missteps during the high-pressure scenarios. They grow delirious and erratic from the lack of sleep. But Scott thrives. The sleep deprivation, the relentless roleplay, the grueling exercise. If anything, he feeds on it. Meanwhile, he's learning from his idols, legendary FBI agents like Joe Pistone, who spent 6 years undercover with the Bono crime family. But they don't always notice him.
So I remember Joe Pistone coming to speak, and I was like a kid in a candy store, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Donnie Brasco. This dude did 6 years undercover in the mafia. And he's teaching, but he has this thing where he keeps kind of wanting to walk right up to the desk. So he kept stepping on my feet. And, I was trying to get out of his way. And then finally, as he's teaching, he just looks down at me and he says, Jesus, kid, either you got the biggest feet I've ever seen or I can't see. And he throws a couple of bucks on the desk because he's like still in mafia mode. He throws a couple, he goes, hey, go get yourself a shine on me. And I just took my feet and shoved them under the seat, man.
Joe Pistone may have scuffed up Scott's shoes. What neither of them could have known at the time is that Scott would go on to fill Joe's. The FBI Academy trains agents to take down bad actors. More and more of these criminals operate online. Scammers, identity thieves, fraudsters, the list goes on. Such criminals rely on your personal data, your name, your phone number, your email address, sometimes even health-related information. Most people aren't aware that their data has already been exposed and is actively being sold by data brokers online. Incogni helps solve this problem. Incogni scours hundreds of data brokers and then leverages data protection laws to have your exposed data deleted. With their unlimited plan, Incogni even offers custom removals. If you find your personal data exposed on an eligible website, you can submit the URL and their team will request its removal. It may be impossible to entirely disappear from the internet, but Incogni can help you become as invisible as possible. Incogni is offering Fern viewers 60% off with the code FernTV. Just scan this QR code or go to incogni.com/FernTV. Remember, no tool can guarantee 100% removal, so be careful with what you share online.
So once I was certified as an undercover in the FBI, if you're looking on paper, I really didn't jump out.
Scott doesn't have a fancy degree. He doesn't speak any foreign languages. His nickname is Big Country, for obvious reasons. So he begins to work as an instructor at the school he just graduated from. Unorthodox, but it got him noticed by the right people.
I'm role-playing in these scenarios, and people that are there who are senior undercovers are watching because they're trying to recruit for other cases. And that's how my name started getting out there.
So after months, there's finally a possible assignment, one that Scott is perfect for. Sure, he's a redneck with almost no foreign language skills, not suitable for many undercovers, but he has something most other agents don't. He doesn't need to pretend to be a hard-living misfit. He is one. He knows he'll feel at home where he's about to go, but he has no idea how close he'll grow to the criminals he's been assigned to infiltrate and how hard it will be to turn on them.
People always have their own opinion of what undercover work is. Some people say it's acting, some people say it's lying. Essentially, this is the definition of undercover work. You are building relationships that you're going to betray.
Scott is on a mission, and his targets, these men, have just arrived. They're members of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, the main rivals of the Hells Angels. They've been implicated in drug trafficking, prostitution rings, money laundering, the list goes on. And they're notorious for violence against rival gangs. Infiltrating them is exceedingly difficult. Scott Payne is here to do just that. But there's a problem. Part of the intelligence Scott was given is wrong. He was told they wouldn't be wearing their colors. Obviously they are. Scott has hoped to strike up a casual conversation, letting the topic of motorcycles arise naturally. But these guys are advertising their gang affiliation. He can't just go up and say, "Hey, you guys ride." His only choice is to make them come to him. Luckily, another part of the intelligence is right. This guy, road named Spanky, loves to be the center of attention. So Scott steals it. He works the crowd. He tells jokes. He talks loudly. He draws attention to himself, making Spanky want to steal it back. Soon enough, Spanky asks where Scott is from and sends him a drink.
Spanky's called me over. He's introducing me to other people. And of course, I'm getting more scrutiny. The more people I meet, the more scrutinized I am.
Everything seems to be going well, but the real scrutiny happens somewhere else.
So I walk into the bathroom, and as I'm at the urinal, in a lot of bars, there's like a little box in front of the urinal, plexiglass. It might be flyers for a band coming up or a stripper coming to town or something like that. So I can see a little bit of a reflection. And I see this jacked, big dude come walking in. And I see him looking at each stall, and he's like, okay, that's empty. I see him looking under the stalls to make sure nobody's in there. And I'm watching this from a reflection. And then he comes walking up right beside me, and for a split second, I thought, oh, I'm getting jumped. I'm getting jacked right here. And that didn't happen. He says, so what brings you to Massachusetts?
All undercover FBI agents have a legend, a detailed made-up backstory that they have to commit to memory. He's from deep South Texas, up in Massachusetts for work. He loves Harleys and whiskey, and his name is Scott Calloway. As it so happens, the guy grilling him in the bathroom is also named Scott Town.
A lot of undercovers, you bond with people, especially deep undercover long term, but there's never been another person I bonded with closer than Scott Town.
For a year and a half, Scott gets to know the outlaws. He drinks with them, rides with them, fights alongside them. He gains their trust. He becomes their friend. They call him Tex. Scott's legend may be a lie, but the friendships are real. Scott Town becomes like a brother.
He likes to drink, I like to drink. He likes to fight, I like to fight. He likes to ride and lift, I like to ride and lift. We completed each other's sentences. We were just kind of cut from the same cloth.
They even both have a daughter who's the exact same age. Scott Town is kind of a doppelganger, the person Scott Payne might have become had he not gone into law enforcement. Another gang member, Brian De La Vaga, aka Clothesline, also becomes a close friend of Scott's.
He said, and these guys are my brothers, and I grew up around them. He said, but I really don't have that many friends. Somebody that I know would take a bullet for me and that I would take a bullet for. And in my mind, I'm looking at his face and I'm going, oh no, man, don't say it. And he looks at me and says, you're one of those guys.
Tomorrow is the big day. Over the course of last year, Scott has convinced the outlaws that he's a high-ranking member of an international theft ring. They begin running jobs together. It begins small, with insurance fraud and vehicle trafficking. An outlaw reports a motorcycle as stolen. He then files an insurance claim, while Scott sells the motorcycle across the border. A double win. Money from the insurance company, money from the sale. They do this again and again, with motorcycles and other vehicles. But tomorrow's job is different. Some of the outlaws will be serving as security during a major drug deal, a gig arranged by Scott himself. He's revealed that he has connections with a Mexican drug cartel. No surprise, considering his line of work and his proximity to the Mexican border. The stakes are high. If they get caught, they'll be looking at serious jail time. And if something goes wrong during the deal, the bullets will start flying. So when Scott is told to meet the outlaws at their clubhouse, he's not surprised. They probably want to go over the plan one last time. Scott arrives. The place is familiar. He's been here countless times. He knows what's behind every door in the building, except one. Clothesline leads him to that very door. Now he realizes that something is wrong. Scott is told to strip. They need to check him for a wire.
Because of the stress of this happening, I forget my middle name. I'm having an adrenaline dump. And for anybody who's ever had it, it can be any traumatic experience, but I'm having auditory exclusion. So what I hear sounds like I'm underwater. It's going whoosh, whoosh. So it's slow. I need you to take all your clothes off. It's slowing down. I'm getting time dilation in my eyes. Everything I see is in string grabs. Click, click, click. I can feel my heart beating through my entire body. My hamstrings get rubbery. Now, Clothesline has instructed me to take all my clothes off. Here's what I'll tell you. If I'm not wired, it's just an embarrassing moment. I'm naked in a small crawl space with two guys with pistols. Problem is, I'm wired to the hilt.
But they don't find anything. Scott's recording equipment is not taped to his chest, but in his clothing.
So my adrenaline starts settling, and I'm starting to come back to normal, and I think I'm done. And I get my pants back up. I don't know if I have my boots on yet or not. And then Clothesline grabs a piece of clothing that I was wearing. And that piece of clothing has a recording device in it. And I'm watching him, and he starts grabbing the clothing, and he's going through it nice and slow with his fingers. And I don't realize I do it, but there's an audible sigh. You can hear me go, because I don't even know. I don't even know I'm doing it. And he looks right at it and misses it. And I live to fight another day. I live to fight another day.
Two moving trucks enter the parking lot of the Brockton Holiday Inn. One is filled with drugs. The other is filled with money. A Mexican drug cartel is selling 40 kilograms of cocaine and 1,000 pounds of marijuana to Canadian buyers. The Mexicans aren't taking any risks. They've arranged an American security detail, the Outlaws. Surveillance at every entrance. 4 men in the parking lot there to provide protection, unload the drugs, and count the money. Everyone is armed and antsy. One false move and all hell could break loose. The deal is wrapped up quickly. The transfer is complete. All the money's there. The Outlaws are particularly relieved. They may be tough, but this is their first time working with a cartel. Now they'll get paid $15,000 for their services. Scott counts out the cash. He did it. He successfully tricked them. The cartel? FBI agents. The Canadians? Also FBI agents. 8 months later, a hotel in Nevada. Scott's been laying low, coordinating his undercovers from afar. His outlaw friends think he's going through a divorce. In reality, he's been diagnosed as overassigned after experiencing a severe stress-related panic attack. He's been ordered to take a 6-month timeout. He's been teaching during this time. His current class, ironically enough, is called Undercover Stressors. All the students have gone to bed, but Scott's only just returned to his hotel room. It's early 4 or 5 a.m. The drug deal back in November gave the FBI all the evidence necessary to arrest and imprison multiple outlaw members, but the operation has continued. Until today, the day of the takedown. Scott doesn't think he'll hear from any of them again, but then his phone rings. It's Scott Town, and he's concerned. He's heard some arrests were made, and he wanted his friend to know about it. He says he's going to take a shower and gather more information. He'll report back.
And the last words we spoke to each other were, he said, "I love you, brother." And I said, "I love you too." And that was the last words I spoke to him. And probably about 45 minutes after that, a SWAT team hit his house and he went to jail.
In the end, 15 outlaws were arrested as a result of Operation Roadkill. One of them was sentenced to 21 years in prison. Clothesline got 12.5 years. Scott Town, 7. The outlaws never saw their friend Scott Calloway again. The Ku Klux Klan emerged in the wake of the American Civil War. From the very beginning, they were racist to the core. raining terror and death on Black Americans. In the late 19th century, they flogged, tortured, and lynched politically active Black men, raped their wives, shot their children, and burned their schools. Historians consider them to be America's first terrorist movement. Today, the KKK remains active, but only as a shadow of its former self. Fewer members, less influence. However, burning crosses is still one of their favorite things to do, and they've stayed true to their roots. Naturally, as a terrorist organization, they have to act in secrecy. You might assume that infiltrating them as an FBI agent is not the easiest feat.
So you may ask yourself, how do you contact the United Klans of America? Well, it turns out the group I was looking at had a hotline.
Scott starts talking to a guy named John Jack, a Klansman whose passion for Jack Daniels earned him this nickname. Scott tells him he's got the number from a group of bikers he met at a gas station. It's a plausible story. Scott looks the part, and his time with the Outlaws taught him how to play it. Biker gangs and white supremacists often run in the same circles. Jack starts talking about this rally that's coming up. Vendors, burning crosses, country music, the usual. But there's a problem.
He said, I'm not gonna lie to you.